my name's Brent, and I now currently live in Cool, California, which is in Northern California in the Sierra foothills. I used to live in Southern California for years when we first got into the Arabians, but we needed a bigger place, so I moved to Northern California, and that's where we currently are. And Philip bought a ranch right next door that's actually contiguous, so there's two, we have gates that go in and out, so the ranch is a total of 44 acres, and all of our horses pretty much live outside. The only ones that come in the stalls are they're either injured, sick, or they're foaling. Otherwise, everybody lives outside. We're a breeding farm. We don't have a trainer, and we pretty much do everything ourselves, all the breeding work and so on and so forth. And Philip has done the paperwork since the beginning of time. But in that, I've gotten a lot of horses on my own. My partner Justin and I have gotten a lot of horses on our own, so I'm still learning the registration process and going over it. He's always taken care of it, done a great job with it, understands it, and I'm in the learning process of doing that myself.
Well, we started back in
late 70s.
Yeah, I would say late 70s. We bred our first horse, and in partnership. So we actually met at a horse show in high school, and then we bred our first mare probably in junior college, and that was to Fame VF, and that's when it all started. So we started with one mare, and now we probably have together over 50 registered Arabians. I believe it's a passion. First and foremost, you have to have the passion for the Arabian horse and dedication. It's something that has from the first horse that we bought together back in the 80s, and we started breeding. I think it's my favorite time of year is seeing the foals being born, seeing what we're on our third generation of breeding now, and we've been doing this over 35 years, and so now we're seeing generations of our breeding program, which is very rewarding. But you have to have a passion and you have to be dedicated. And for me, the registration part of it is helpful because I use that as a tool. I travel the world. I go to many different farms. I live on the database. People. We have, like I said, over 50 horses. It's hard to keep them all straight, so I'm totally dependent on going to the database and looking up even horses that we bred 30 years ago, and and their offspring, and now where are they, and so it's a great way to follow our breeding program that's important to us. So we've sold a lot of horses over the last 35 years, and so we keep tabs on them through the registry.
Yeah, I think it's kind of in your blood, the horses, and if it's not, once it gets in, then you're hooked. It's amazing over the last, 35 years, I'd say, to watch it. The Arabian horse world as a whole continues to evolve and change, in my opinion, very drastically in certain times, in certain economic times. I think we're in a really unique time now, and I think it's very important. I don't really consider it a hobby, because I think I spend a little too much money on that, but I also don't consider it a business at all. I'm a real estate broker of 34 years, and so at this point, our goal's always been to breed some horses and maybe if we're so lucky that somebody wants them and sells them, then we try to help pay for what we're doing. But more than anything, it's a lifestyle. And I think that people, if they're at all interested in the Arabian horse, that they should really consider it. And when I mean a lifestyle, there's just amazing people that own these horses all over the world. And we have friends and friendships with people all over the world. They host us in their homes and tour us around every Arabian farm that they're near, and we do the same thing when they come here. And all the parties, get-togethers, it's a lifestyle more than anything, I mean, it is a business for certain people in certain aspects that have that. Obviously, like trainers themselves, and so on and so forth. But for us, we're breeders. We like to breed the horses. We like to show them, and it's more of a lifestyle than anything for us. And that's how we're going to keep it. And I think every now and then maybe I'll get down to a few horses, but I know that I'll have them till the day I die for sure. Always, yeah. I just love them. I don't have any other hobbies or anything, and so I dedicate my time to them, and I enjoy it very much. Yeah.
And for me, I travel more than Brent does, and we've been fortunate enough to breed several national champions. People know us because we've been doing it for more than 35 years. We've bred some great horses. People know us probably more by our horses than by us. And that's okay. But for me, I like to travel, and it opens doors. I'll go to the Middle East, I'll go to Europe, I'll go to South America, and they want me to visit their farms. They're interested in my breeding program, what we've done together, what we've bred together, where we're going, and our industry is evolving. It constantly evolves, and that's the nice thing about it. And the Arabian horse is evolving. So we've been here this long, and I think we'll be here for another 35 years, I hope.
I think a positive thing, or it seems to always be is maybe outcrosses. It's tough. We do now, because of the frozen semen process and all. It opens doors to breeding to stallions from all over the world. Some people may think it diminishes the numbers, and I really don't know what stats would be on that. But I think it's an opportunity to breed to other bloodlines and breed something that you want, or something maybe that's needed in your program that a stallion constantly produces. And I think it evolves in that way. I think that over the years too, from the time I was a boy and showed as a junior till now, one of the things I will say, it's evolved into each different discipline, and different things have become almost specialties. Years ago, the horses could cross over and do 3 or 4 different types of disciplines, and you just really don't see that today. It's very specialized, almost like a professional football player does not play professional basketball. They choose one or the other. They may be able to do both, but choose one and then excel at that. I think that's probably the biggest thing I've seen evolved over the last several years as far as that goes.
And we also depend on the registry for transporting semen, not only in the United States, but we probably breed outside the country as many or maybe more than we do in the country. So frozen semen for our stallions is very important. And also we breed with frozen semen from other countries. We incorporate that, and that's evolved over the years, because that wasn't like that when we first started.
Definitely,
so
I guess probably one of the biggest changes.
That was the biggest change. So we're now using blood that we couldn't use 15 years ago, and we give people the opportunity to use our stallions. For example, Enzo, he's bred numerous mares in Poland. He's been used in Poland. He's been used in Brazil. He's been used in the Middle East, throughout Europe. So that opportunity wouldn't have existed if the registries hadn't got together and allowed us to to freeze semen and send it all over the world, and vice versa. So we're using semen coming in. So that's probably impacted our breeding program the most. We're breeding a new generation. We're breeding horses that are, in my opinion, more complete, and that needs to happen for the industry to continue. We're evolving. Horses need to be able to really compete all over the world, not just in one location. They have to be competitive worldwide.
And I think that's probably one of the other biggest changes in the last several years. We have developed shows in this country that are based more on a European style horse, or they used to call it. I think now everything's kind of coming together, but we have there's been shows created after the way that the programs they have in Europe and the way that they show the horses. And I think that a lot of the horses in this country, they've always evolved over the years, different breeds and different styles, but I think more than ever now you're seeing more of what I would consider type in the Arabians. There are Arabians that really look like Arabians and represent Arabians, and I think that a lot of that influence has been brought in through the Middle East, through Europe, straight Egyptian lines, and beautiful horses. And I think it's good for everybody. And a lot of them are being able to be ridden. So there's life after halter for them, and that's pretty important too. That they're just don't have a halter career, that they're able to go on after that. And that's probably something I see coming in the last several years. Yeah. For me, it's just something that I do, even though I have a career in real estate. I try to at least feed my horses once a day on my own, all 55 of them, and I enjoy it. It's like mowing the lawn or doing the yard. But what you find out is when you spend time with them, you get to know these Arabian horses, and they're very, very much like people. They are all total individuals and have their own personalities, their own weird quirks, good or bad, just like people. And when you spend time with them on a daily basis, you get to see that, and you have to take the good with the bad, or not, but it's kind of fun because it's just like people. Some are a little moody, some are, and then there's other ones everybody loves, and you can't help but love them. So I think that's probably for me. I like anything with 4 legs and a tail. I really do. It just so happens that I have Arabians, and I love them though, but because they really are, and you can talk about it all day. I think it's like having children, and until you have them, you really can't experience it. And I think that's kind of how it is with the Arabian horse. Until you really have one and spend time with it and get to know them, you'll see why people get attached to them like they do.
I think, for me, I enjoy showing, and again, they, like Brent mentioned, they have different personalities, and so I enjoy working with them, and I show mostly halter right now. I used to ride, but they are so different, and every one of them, responds differently to you. So, but I think for me, like I said, I enjoy working with the babies. I enjoy working with starting them out. And for me, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing, the fruit of what we've produced. The following year when the babies are coming, and they start developing their personalities then. And they kind of grow up that way, but they need a good start. They do need a good start.
I don't. I have so many favorite horses. And I like a lot of different horses for different reasons. For their athleticism, some of them have the most beautiful, big, kind eyes. Just the longest and most shaped to neck, laid back shoulders, the movement. No, I have No, I love them all, and that's the problem. That's why I have so many. I would like to have one from each if I could, for all the great things that they have to offer as individuals. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. There's, their personalities again are so different. It's hard to have a favorite because there's, we connect with them at so many different levels. I mean, certainly the ones that we still have the first mare that we bought together.
She's 32 now.
32.
We bought her as a yearling or a 2-year-old?
A yearling.
A yearling, yeah.
And we still own her. So,
still own her. She's still alive, and she's doing great.
So she's, been with us the longest, but, she's just part of the family. That's really what they become, is they become part of the family. And
you get very emotionally attached to them. It's hard.
God forbid they die, because it's very
and
emotional.
That's what happens when you get older. You get more. It's more emotional when they do go. But one of the great things about getting older, I have to say, is Philip and I know that I met Philip when I was like 15 or 16 at the Monterey Arabian Horse Show, at a Class A show. One of the benefits of getting older or being back there, I've probably seen almost every stallion there is that was a legend or that has bred on to do well with that line of theirs. And so for me, it's probably one of the things I love the most. Been able to see horses 35 years ago when they were 20 some years ago. So I really almost have 55, 60 years of history there, even seeing them that late in life. And I think it's I feel so fortunate to have seen those horses and know what they're known for and what they did and the lines that they produce and have carried on. And it's really cool.
Absolutely, and that helps us as breeders.
Yeah.
We've seen generations of these stallions and mares, 40, 50 years now. And without seeing them and their characteristics and their traits, we would not have that benefit, when we are breeding our horses. You can see in our horses these traits. It's amazing. And so we're very fortunate that we can rely back on our experiences and face to face with some of these legends.
And part of that reverts back again to the registry when you go on the database and you see something and you say, okay, I got to see how that horse is bred, and you get on there and you go to the pedigree, and it's so amazing that you can go back far, and then a lot of times we'll say that looks like something out of an El Halal daughter, or something that's long gone, or Kemosabe or whatever, or Fajr, or any of those great horses, Boss horses, all those horses. And sure enough, there it is in the pedigree, and we would never know or know how to do it. And I guess that is one good thing about technology. So if we're in a different country or we're traveling and we're in Florida, we just on the iPhone pick up the database, go in and put that that the horse's name in, or I'm a horrible speller, so it's great you just put in a little bit of that, and I have to sometimes go down the list, but you can always find it. It may take longer than others, but it's one of the it's a great tool. It's amazing.
But for me, like I said earlier, it's I use the database a lot. It's like my handbook. I'm probably on it daily. With what we do and as many horses, we have 20 foals coming this year, and so I think we registered 20 last year. So when we're breeding, we have to go back to the database and look through some of these bloodlines, because we have so many horses that we have to refresh our memory and say, well, who does that go to, or who was that sire? And
not too much though. I know them all by now. I'm old, so it's like you get.
But it does help.
Yeah,
it helps
always,
to refresh.
always, yeah. Oh, I think it's everything. I think it's very important. If you even take a look at the Polish government, who have the state stud farms, they've been breeding Arabians for, I don't know, hundreds of years.
Centuries.
And everything is written down in a stud book. Because it is a government entity that is run by them, they to me today, Poland probably has the strongest mare power in the world still today. And it wasn't because they just decided to breed this one to that one. They paid attention. This line did not work. Let's not try that again. And they wrote everything down, or only may have tried it 2 or 3 or 4 times. So to me, it's invaluable as far as the quality of the Arabian horse. And if you're an accountant or engineer type, there's stats there. And that's not the only way to breed, but it does give you a pretty good indication. And I think it's very, very important. Furthermore, I just sold a half Arabian, and the guy he wanted to make sure the horse was registered. He doesn't show at the Arabian shows, knows nothing about them, but it was important for him to have the horse registered. And I'm not sure why it was important to him, but so for me, we register all of our horses, all of them. Good, the bad, and the ugly. No, just teasing. But
you
no,
have,
really, you know.
you also have the paper that shows their lineage, shows, you know, when they were born, the date they were born. You know, it has so much information on that one slip of paper that, you know, when we sell a horse and it transfers to a new owner, you know, they have something tangible, and they can, you know, look at the lineage there. They can, you know, they know when that horse was, you know, who bred the horse, and you know, and they want to be the owner. They have a certificate, you know, half Arabian or purebred. They have a certificate that shows, you know, that's my horse, and I think it is important. And I think we've never had somebody say, you know, I want this horse. Don't worry about registering it. I think it's important to buyers. Mm-hmm. They you know, they want to see the registration. You know, is it a purebred? They want to see that. You know.
And recently I've been lax in registering some, and then I have someone that wants to purchase it, and even though they may going to be use it for local open shows, or whether it be endurance or whatever. Exactly what Philip said, you know, they want it registered, and I'm happy to do it for them, because if that's important to them, then it means something, definitely. I do, I do, and I'll tell you why. In these times, there's a trace, there's a trail, and you know, unfortunately, it's part of life. But you know, years ago, there were horses, or purebred Arabian horses, that would end up in feedlots that were on their way to slaughter, and people would make calls. Back in my day, I'd get a fax over the fax machine. There was no, you know, Microsoft. There was no internet, so you would get a fax, and it would say 21 purebred Arabian horses at so-and-so slaughterhouse. Come save them. And you would go, and they were all registered. And the man at the feedlot would have the registration, and the Arabian community rallies around and purchases those horses. I've gotten some amazing horses, you know, a couple $1,000s, wonderful brood mares, proven. And so, yeah, because it gives them value. They can go on and breed, and you have that, because if not, you know, as the registry stands, if they're not registered, then they have to be registered as a half Arabian if they're not tangible, or you know. So I think it's invaluable, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, I believe, I wish we had it for people. I mean, as I said, there's so much information on that. You know, I'd love to have the the lineage of my family like we have for the horses. But if you stay with it, if you you know, every generation you're tracing it, and it's so important. You have, you know, because otherwise they'd be lost. If we didn't register the horses, we wouldn't know where they came from. You have to have something that shows the lineage. It's so important to the breed. You know, not just for the ownership, but I'm saying for the breed and for the quality, you know, that they're going to live and that they're going to reproduce. And, you know, even if it's a gelding is shown. People ask the pedigree. Who's your gelding by? Why would they want to know that? Because of the quality. They want to see that is a quality individual, even though he's not used for reproduction. So it is important. It's important for the quality of their life, quality, you know, that they give to us. So it is very important.
And lastly, I just used it in the last couple months to purchase a horse. And what I did is I was looking for a specific sire that is no longer around, and the get of that sire are pretty old, pretty aged. So what I did is I went to all of his get, and because of the information that you have there, I sent letters to people asking them if they were interested, and a lot of them responded back. Sometimes the mares were deceased, unfortunately, and other times, different things. Oh, I had sold that one, and here's the person's name. But it's from that standpoint, it's good. And I did find a mare, and I bought her. You don't know about her yet, but anyway.
Oh, another one?
Another one. So, because we don't have enough horses. So I bought another one. But it's invaluable for that. And I mean, I was on it. I was really trying to find that lineage and that line, and it worked. I found someone that just so happened, and a wonderful mare.
And we do that for our clients too. If they're looking for certain things or certain sire lines or mare dam lines, I get on the database, and I start searching. When was the last monogram full born? I'll look it up. It's easy. It's all right there. So it's an important tool again for me.
I think that there could be a group put together, or somebody that has been around a while, that has had tremendous success. Not necessarily, I mean, there's always people that can coach but weren't good players, maybe to say. So there are folks like that have paid attention, but I think it's very important to maybe have people mentor people that are coming in and to help them out. It's no guarantee. But what I would say today to anybody that's breeding today, right now, that you breed to own. Tara Borsick, who is an Arabian horse trainer up in Oregon, I like to copy her term. She says you breed to own, and I think she put it so well. Today you breed expecting to own that horse. Now, if it turns out so great, or it's just a horse that somebody else wants and comes along and is wanting to buy it from you, and it's a price you're willing to accept, and you're so fortunate, then go ahead and sell it. But don't ever plan on that. Just breed to own, and breed something that you would like, and plan on owning it. And that would be my suggestion for right now.
Yeah, it's a difficult question because some people look at this industry and you do see a lot of flash and the promotion that goes along with some of these shows and some of the people that are involved, and so it is difficult for a new person to come along, and we've certainly have brought a lot of new people into the industry, and but we always tell them, it's not a business. You need to do it because this is what you want to do. I'm going to go back to passion. You have to have a passion for it. It's not a get rich quick scheme. I mean, it isn't. I mean, horses are personable.
Yeah,
they're individual. They are a friend. They're not something that you take and or buy or breed to try to make a lot of money. That will come with your dedication and your passion. So you have to do it for the right reason. Yeah, I think that's important.
They're live animals. They're not a commodity. They do die. They do get hurt. So it just can't be, referred to as a business in a sense. And I realize through the IRS we have to call it that because we do spend a lot of money on it, and people. But I mean, in a sense, and it is a business. But at the same time, you have to make sure your expectations are realistic, and it's not like a Burger King. People don't drive up to a window and say, I'll have a number one and supersize it. They just don't do that. Don't come to your ranch, I'll take this. Sometimes that's happened, and maybe people have experienced that, and that's great. But again, I think you should still breed to own, and if you have something that you've bred and somebody is interested and would like to purchase it, then great. Go ahead and sell it. But I would just say that it's today, breed to own and enjoy it. It's really a lifestyle, and that's what it's about. It really is, and a great one. I will tell you. I will tell you right straight up. Because I do have so many horses. I think if I rescued a lot of them or something, it would be one thing, and I would maybe have a different outlook on the horses. But right now I have a lot of horses, and it is, financially it's a lot to feed them. But I've created them, I've bred them, I have a responsibility to continue to take care of them until either I sell them or place them and find them the right home. And I don't just sell my horses to anybody or just place them anywhere. I make sure it's a good fit, that the horses and the person mesh together, and that person is capable of handling that horse, and so on and so forth. Sometimes it'd be just great just to, financially maybe send them away. It's just not possible in the city. You owe that to them. And then we have horses that are older, very old, like the one that we talked about that's 32. She doesn't owe us anything. She's given us her entire life. She's given us foals that I will tell you, we've made a lot of money off of the foals. She's been wonderful to us. She was our foundation mare. So at this point in time in her life, she doesn't owe us anything. And we owe it to her, to where she's at a wonderful ranch in Oregon, and she's kind of in horsey Disneyland now. And we owe that to her, and that's what she deserves. She doesn't owe us anything more till the day she dies. So I think that's, and that's only the fair thing to do to a lot of these horses and how to keep them.
I agree. Because we've been doing this so long, we have a lot of old mares now, and they've gifted us with some wonderful horses. For our stallion Enzo, for example, we still, we bought his mother at 2 years of age. She's 23. She can no longer have foals, but that doesn't make her any less important to us. She gets the best of care. She's given us great gifts. She doesn't owe us anything. We owe her everything.
Yes. This whole fun thing and this whole lifestyle we have is all due to these horses, So
we take care of them as best we can and provide them with, a home that we think they enjoy. And all of our horses, for the most part, live outside. We want them to live like horses. We want them to be on pastures. We don't like them in the stalls. They only come in, like Brent said, if they're sick or injured or foaling. But otherwise, they live outside 24/7. They live like a horse. They're happy.
Yep.
And they're healthier. You can just tell the difference. Horses don't like to be cooped up in the stall.
And I mean, if they're in training, it's a whole different thing. The trainers are very kind to them. Those trainers treat those horses a lot of times better than people with the diet and the exercise, and they take them out, 5 days a week. And when they have a job like that, that's okay. But we don't have a training farm. It's just a breeding farm. So that's why they live out and they enjoy it. I think what I would say to new breeders, especially when they come around the shows, and maybe even people like Philip and I mean, we can rattle off a pedigree 5 generations back and know and for certain people it would probably be very overwhelming. Don't get taken back by that. Just enjoy it. Again, maybe have somebody that's had some success help you a little bit and mentor you. And I think at this, you can do it at any level you want, which is the greatest thing. And I mean, today you can buy an Arabian horse, a purebred Arabian horse, probably for $500. And as we well know, I mean, the sky's the limit on what they get. It's whatever level you want to do this at, and it's available to you. And because there is such a diverse community in the Arabian horse world, you can play at whatever level you want. There's somebody for everybody.
Absolutely.
Different trainers that mesh with youth. There are trainers that do just amateur owner. Some people don't want to ride. They just want to see their horse shown. There is something for everybody at every level, every discipline. and they all play a big part.
There's quite a few Arabian horse owners that don't show their horses.
Yeah,
They just love to look at them. I mean, I get it. You know, we don't show a lot of our horses.
There's no right or wrong.
No.
That's what's great about it. We like to be hands-on, but we have a very good friend that, you know, lives in a nice house in a subdivision or whatever and is not interested. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what makes the whole thing go around, and I think it's great. It's whatever level they want to participate at, and what works for them is great.
We enjoy showing, I think, because of the social. A lot of it's the social. It's a lifestyle. We have so many friends, and we do it together. We have a lot of, you know, we have clients that are also and other partners in horses, and we do it because it's a more of a social, more of a, you know, something that we have in common, and we love the horse. But like I said, we don't show a lot of our horses either. They're just pets. You know, they're family pets, and we enjoy them around the farm, and they don't ever have to go anywhere. They don't owe us anything. You know, so there is, like Brent said, there's something for everybody in within the Arabian horse industry.
Yeah.